So look at the picture. This is Gillian, right? And you can see that there are police with weapons here. So these true or false statements. Gillian didn't hear the flight announcement because she was reading her emails. She caught her flight, true or false. She didn't have much time before her flight. She went to the wrong gate number, right? There wasn't anyone at gate 25 when she got there. She went up the steps like this here, and to the plane, everything appeared normal. The security, these are the security guards, thought it was funny. And Gillian's plane had to wait nearly an hour before it could take off. Yeah. Now, so here's the task into the chat. Please confirm that you've received it. There you go.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to listen to the audio. It's a bit long, but I mean, you are upper intermediate, so you can manage it.
Track 35.
So yes, I got 2 new clients, so it was a pretty successful trip. By the way, how was your trip to Poland?
Fine, once I got there.
What do you mean, once you got there? Did you miss the flight?
No. Actually, I got to Heathrow in plenty of time because it was such an important meeting. I even did a bit of shopping, had a bite to eat, and when I'd finished that, the departure gate still wasn't up on the screen, so I took out my iPad and started going through my emails. There were loads of them. Anyway, I just didn't hear them call my flight.
But you didn't miss the plane?
No, but I almost wish I had.
Why?
Well, suddenly I heard, "This is the last call for Ms. Gillian Cook. Please proceed to gate 25 immediately." And gate 25 was miles away. Meanwhile, everyone else was sitting on the plane waiting for me.
So they were holding the plane for you?
I guess so. Anyway, when I got to the gate, there was no one there, not even anyone from the airline.
Really? Nobody at all?
No. So I went through and there were 2 possible directions, one down some stairs and one along a corridor. I went down the stairs and found myself on the tarmac, and there was a small set of steps going up to the plane. I thought they seemed too small considering the size of the plane, but anyway, I was panicking by then.
I bet you were.
Yeah, well, I just started to go up the steps, even though I'd noticed the door at the top was closed. How stupid can you get, honestly? Anyway, I suddenly heard sirens from all directions, and before I knew it, I was surrounded by security guards pointing guns at me.
What?
Yes, I know. Apparently, I was trying to get in the door that ground crew use.
I've never noticed a separate door.
According to my dad, who knows about these things, it's the door the ground crew use when they need to check things with the pilots. They don't have to keep going in through the terminal.
Oh, I see. Anyway, what happened?
Well, I was trying to make a joke of it with the security guards.
They're not known for their sense of humour.
You're not kidding. I thought they were going to arrest me. I really did. I was terrified.
Did you get arrested?
No. Luckily, they let me off with a warning. Then they marched me onto the plane and handed me over to the flight attendants.
How embarrassing.
Yeah, it was. Everyone was staring at me. And in the end, to make things worse, the pilot announced that due to the delay, i.e. me, we had missed our slot and we had to wait for another 45 minutes before we could take off.
Oh, dear. So, all in all, you weren't the most popular passenger on the flight?
No.
Anyway, how was the meeting with...
All right, please just go ahead.
Actually, I got to Heathrow in plenty of time because it was such an important meeting.
Sorry about that. Just go ahead and submit your answers when you're ready. Let's check. Now, don't worry if you didn't get all the answers because we're going to hear it a second time. And I'm also going to give you the audio script. Right? Okay, here we are. There it is. So please press submit down at the bottom. Let's check. Okay, so most people said, 100% said true. It is indeed correct. Yes. Caught her flight. Most people got the right answer, 66%. Right, she did actually get her flight. Now, she didn't have much time for her flight. No, that's false. That's definitely false, right? Because she had plenty of time, she says. You can read the audio script shortly and check. There wasn't anyone at number 4. She went to the wrong gate number. The answer is false. Okay, well, only one person got that right. Huh? And she actually went to the right gate number. That wasn't the problem. Number 5, there wasn't anyone at gate 25 when she got there. True. Why? Well, can anyone tell us? Why wasn't there anyone at gate 25 when she got there? Can anyone tell us that one? Beth, do you know? Kevin? Daniel? I mean, you're right, but why? Because they were already on the plane, right? That was the issue. Now, number 6. They went up the steps to the plane, everything seemed normal. The answer is false because the door at the top was closed. You couldn't get through the door, right? The security thought it was funny. Answer was false. Yes, that's good. 66% of us got that right. Why is this false though? Anyone tell us that one?
Because the security guy gave her a warning.
Yes, they were very stern, weren't they? Yeah, very serious looking. Yeah, and she thought they were going to arrest her. And the plane had to wait nearly an hour before it could take off. Okay, everyone got that wrong. The answer is true. Yes, the takeoff of the plane was delayed because of her, right? Because she wasn't paying attention, right, to the announcements. That was basically the reason, wasn't it? Now, okay, now we've got the general idea of the story and what went wrong, right? We need to look at some of these expressions so that you can tell your own story, all right? Now, I'm going to give you a slide each, like this. And we're going to look at some of these expressions for telling stories. So the idea is that we listen again and you work in groups to match the so the yellow stickies with A, B, C, and D. The orange stickies with E, F, G, H, and I. All right, so here's an example. To correct someone that someone else had said, then you would use actually. Right? Now in Spanish, actually means something different, doesn't it? It actually means currently. Now, what does actually mean in English? Can anyone give me a a synonym for actually. Danielle, do you know this one?
Uh, could it be in fact?
Excellent. Yes, that's exactly what actually means in English. So it means to correct something that the other person said, right? So we'd say in fact or actually, right? So that's a kind of a little difference between Spanish and English, isn't it? Yeah? Okay, so group A is Beth and Daniel. Okay. And Kevin, Monica, and Sarah, I'm going to put you into group B. Okay. Now I'm going to give you the link to this whiteboard. I hope you can use it. Now, if you can't, don't worry too much because maybe your partner can move the stickies for you. You've got to move the stickies into the right place as you hear them. Right? You'll notice that anyway is used quite often because she often digresses from the story. It's like she's going away from the story. Now, I'm giving you the audio script so that you can follow as well as listen this time. Okay. And here is the link to the Jamboard. Please give me the thumbs up to confirm you've received it.
Receive.
Okay, let's play it again. This time, as you listen, move them into the right. Do the matching, yeah?
Track 35.
So, yes, I got 2 new clients, so it was a pretty successful trip. By the way, how was your trip to Poland?
Fine, once I got there.
What do you mean, once you got there? Did you miss the flight?
No. Actually, I got to Heathrow in plenty of time because it was such an important meeting. I even did a bit of shopping, had a bite to eat, and when I'd finished that, the departure gate still wasn't up on the screen, so I took out my iPad and started going through my emails. There were loads of them. Anyway, I just didn't hear them call my flight.
But you didn't miss the plane?
No, but I almost wish I had.
Why?
Well, suddenly I heard, "This is the last call for Ms. Gillian Cook. Please proceed to gate 25 immediately." And gate 25 was miles away. Meanwhile, everyone else was sitting on the plane waiting for me.
So they were holding the plane for you?
I guess so. Anyway, when I got to the gate, there was no one there, not even anyone from the airline.
Really? Nobody at all?
No. So I went through and there were 2 possible directions, one down some stairs and one along a corridor. I went down the stairs and found myself on the tarmac, and there was a small set of steps going up to the plane. I thought they seemed too small considering the size of the plane, but anyway, I was panicking by then.
I bet you were.
Yeah, well, I just started to go up the steps, even though I'd noticed the door at the top was closed. How stupid can you get, honestly? Anyway, I suddenly heard sirens from all directions, and before I knew it, I was surrounded by security guards pointing guns at me.
What?
Yes, I know. Apparently, I was trying to get in the door that ground crew use.
I've never noticed a separate door.
According to my dad, who knows about these things, it's the door the ground crew use when they need to check things with the pilots. They don't have to keep going in through the terminal.
Oh, I see. Anyway, what happened?
Well, I was trying to make a joke of it with the security guards.
They're not known for their sense of humour.
You're not kidding. I thought they were going to arrest me. I really did. I was terrified.
Did you get arrested?
No. Luckily, they let me off with a warning. Then they marched me onto the plane and handed me over to the flight attendants.
How embarrassing.
Yeah, it was. Everyone was staring at me. And in the end, to make things worse, the pilot announced that due to the delay, i.e. me, we had missed our slot and we had to wait for another 45 minutes before we could take off.
Oh, dear. So, all in all, you weren't the most popular passenger on the flight?
No.
Anyway, how was the meeting with...
All right, let's switch back and see how well you're doing. Looks pretty good to me.
Teacher, I can move it.
It's okay. To move it, you need to press the select tool and click on the, make sure you press the little arrow and then
okay.
move the stickies, yeah. Takes a bit of practice. Right. Okay, so number one is so A is 3 anyway. B is apparently to say something that he or she is not certain to be true. So all in all is summarizing. Actually is correcting, yes. And so according to is E, say something that someone else told him. Meanwhile would be I, introduce something happening at the same time but in a different place. In the end, conclusion, luckily is relates to fortunate, and by the way is moving on to a different topic. Now, meanwhile, so if we look in the audio script, sometimes people have problems with meanwhile, so let's just zoom in on this one. Can we find meanwhile here? Yes. Meanwhile, everyone else was sitting on the plane waiting for me. You see that there? Oh. Kevin,
Yeah.
were the passengers waiting while she was doing something else? Were the
Mm,
passengers waiting while she was
yeah.
doing something else?
Mm, she uh, is waiting for. I really don't know.
Yes, they were. You're right. They were waiting for her, weren't they, on the plane, right?
Okay, right
While
for
she was
yeah.
she was walking around getting lost, right? So were the passengers waiting happening at the same time as the main events of the story? Kevin, what do you think? Were the passengers waiting? Was this happening at the same time as the main events of the story?
Okay. They she is waiting for take a plane.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
um,
so they were waiting while she was doing the other things, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Now, let's ask someone else. Beth, anyway. When she says anyway, does she digress from her story?
She's
Does
moving
she
to another.
digress from her story?
Anyway, I suddenly heard silence from like she's
Does,
moving to another topic or something like that.
yes, well, she uses anyway to return to the earlier part of the story, doesn't she?
Okay.
Yeah. She's moved away from the story, but then she says anyway to go back to it. Now, let's do a little bit of form work now. So, look at these sentences or parts of the sentences. What's the right answer? Is it according to or according with? Is it lucky or luckily? Is it and by the end or in the end? And for summarizing or the conclusion, is it so all on all or all in all? Right. So here is the form here. Please click on confirm you received it. You've got Like literally 2 minutes to do this. So what's the preposition that follows according? Is it to or with? If you're not sure, look in the script again. You've got the audio script. Have a look in there. Is it according to or according with? There it is. All right, so time's up, everyone. Please submit your answers. I've got 2 already. Okay, so yes, it's according to, isn't it? Very good. And it's luckily, isn't it? Yes, luckily. Notice we can say fortunately also, yeah, as an alternative. And it's in the end, yes, and in the end. And so all in all is we use in, not on. Correct. Now, quick pronunciation. How do we do this? Yeah, yes. All right. I'm going to play you and an audio, and you've got to figure out how do we pronounce these little words? Like when we say them rapidly, do we say to or do we say t? When we say the of rapidly, do we say of or do we say uv? Is it was or was? Is it an or un? So usually there are 2 ways of saying these little grammar words in English, depending if we're emphasizing them or not. Usually we don't emphasize them, so we usually use the weak form. So please try to identify which is the correct form in the context of the audio. All right, so you've got to listen to the audio carefully. All right, is it the first set or is it the second set that you hear? Let's play.
Actually, I got to Heathrow in plenty of time because it was such an important meeting. Meanwhile, everyone else was sitting on the...
Okay, so it's just the first one, wasn't it? Yeah? Actually. All right. Let me just play it again one more time.
Actually, I got to Heathrow in plenty of time because it was such an important meeting.
Yeah. So you make your choice. Now, we're going to listen again, but this time let's focus on the stressed words. All right? So for 2 and 3, you decide which sentence better represents the stress in the sentence. Is it number 1? Okay. You notice in number 2 here, It's these grammar words that are stressed. And number 3, which is the best representation? And you'll notice there's some linking between from and all. Those words kind of link together. So listen carefully and choose. Right? You've got the choice in front of you. Let's make it.
Meanwhile, everyone else was sitting on the plane waiting for me. Anyway, I suddenly heard sirens from all directions.
Okay, let's play them again.
Meeting. Meanwhile, everyone else was sitting on the plane waiting for me. Anyway, I suddenly heard sirens from all directions.
Now, please send in your answers. Let's confirm. Okay, got 4 responses. Yes, okay, so the correct answer is the second set. T, of, was, and n. Right? Now in English, we tend to weaken you'll notice the vowel sound is weaker in these grammar words when we say a sentence fast, right? Because we tend to stress the strong content words. Right now, so you said sentence 1 was the better representation. You're correct. Yeah, sentence 1. And sentence... Okay, sentence 2. Sentence 2 is the better option, yes. Yeah. Because normally we don't stress these like prepositions. Yeah. It's the adverb. Anyway, suddenly. The main verb, heard, noun, sirens, and all directions, right? Also a noun. Okay, so let's repeat, please. You can turn off your microphone actually because it'll just make a large noise. So just repeat after me. I'll believe you that you're saying it, okay? Actually, I got to Heathrow in plenty of time because it was such an important meeting. Repeat. Number 2. Meanwhile, everyone else was sitting on the plane waiting for me. Repeat. Anyway, I suddenly heard sirens from all directions. Okay, now I'm going to ask 1 or 2 of you to repeat the sentences. Okay, let's see. Monica, could you repeat sentence 1?
Sure. Actually, I got to the hardware in plenty of time because it was such an important meeting.
Okay, good. You're stressing the right words. Just this word Heathrow, yeah? It's a h sound. Heathrow.
Heathrow.
Heathrow, good. Now, Sarah, number 2.
Meanwhile, everyone else was sitting on the plane waiting for me.
Yeah. Now, the stress is on the first syllable in meanwhile, right?
Right.
One more time. Repeat.
Meanwhile, everyone else was sitting on the plane waiting for me.
Yes. Stress on the first syllable in meanwhile. Meanwhile, okay? Now, let's see. Beth, can you read number 3 for us, please?
Okay. Anyway, I suddenly heard sirens from all directions.
Beautiful. Very nice. Thank you. Now, we're going to do our speaking task. Okay. Now, the first thing is to work on your own, and you're going to tell a travel story, a short travel story. Now, it can be about you or about someone you know. All right. Choose one from these ideas. Then make notes on the main events of the story. Now, it could be an interesting business trip, or it could be an unusual vacation or travel experience. Right? I'd like you to structure your story according to the setup or background. Right? There's usually a complication, something goes wrong in the middle, right, with a good travel story. And in the end, there's a resolution. How is it solved? How is the problem solved? Right? So I'd like you to choose either an interesting business trip or an unusual vacation or travel experience. So, Sarah, which will you choose?
The unusual vacation or travel. Yes,
Okay,
unusual
great.
vacation.
All right, fine. Thank you. Monica?
The same of Sarah.
Okay. Kevin, what's about you?
The most easiest travel experience of maybe okay, the one an interested business trip.
Oh, you'll go for a business trip. Okay, great. Carry. Okay, and Beth?
The second one. And
Second one. Okay. Yes, yes. Unusual vacation. Okay, great. Now, going to give you 1 minute to make notes. Okay, now you can't write full sentences. Yeah? Just notes for 1 minute, starting from now. Keywords, palabras clave. For 1 minute, make notes. What are you going to do, Kevin?
Main notes about the short
Yes.
story.
Yes. All right, now look at your notes again from A. Decide where you can use some of these words or phrases. So remember, actually, anyway, apparently, according to, by the way, in the end, so all in all. Look at the diagram here. Just remind yourself, see if you can include any of these. Okay. So now I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. I'd like you to try to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. Right? 2 minutes would be great. Yeah, but minimum of 1 minute. So time yourself. Yeah? Yeah, use your timer on your phone. And at the end, think of a question to ask your partner when they finish. All right? Any questions? Beth, how long are you going to speak for?
And 2 minutes.
2 minutes would be great. Yeah, minimum 1 minute. When you finish speaking, what happens?
And you have to ask questions to your partner.
Yes, your partner asks you a question, right? When the partner has finished asking you a question, what happens then?
I got distracted, so yeah, the last one.
Okay. It's the other person's turn, right? So you both speak for 1 to 2 minutes. Does that make sense? Ambos tienen que hablar, yeah? For 2 minutes. And at the end, each person asks a question. All right, so let's try it. I'll give you 7 minutes in total. See how well you do. Please go to your breakout rooms. Beth and Salma, please go to breakout room 1. Thank you. Arturo, you can join them. Heiba and Arturo, please go and watch them speak. All right. I think we could have another turn at this. But before we do, here are a few sort of reformulations, not so much corrections as reformulations. Now, Kevin, you said it's interesting to know different people. Now, we don't use that verb so much when we're talking about meeting people
Yeah,
in
visibility.
English. So we'd probably say it was interesting to meet different people,
Okay.
right? We can also use this expression get to know, yeah? Because in English, knowing something is more of a when we're talking about people, it's more of a process, right?
Okay.
Because it doesn't instantly happen, does it? Whereas in Spanish, you have the difference between conocer and saber. In English, we don't, right? So we use this word know
Meet.
or get to know, yeah?
Okay.
Now with this Monica leave her wallet. She left her wallet on the train, right? Um, Now we don't normally say she forgot her wallet on the train. We just say she forgot her wallet, right? With the preposition, then we would use left. She left her wallet on the train. Yeah? It's just a thing about use. Yeah, we we forget we don't tend to use prepositions like prepositions of place because it's a mental state. She forgot her wallet. Yeah, it's not a physical action so much. Now, that's the reason why. Now, I'm going to put you into the breakout rooms again, but this time you have to tell the story faster, right? Más rápido, but with a different person. So Kevin and Sarah and Beth and Monica. All right, Beth and Monica. So tell your story faster. You've got less time. Yeah, you'll find you should be able to do it faster. Let's begin. Please go to the breakout. All right, guys. Good. I think you did better on the second telling, didn't you? It was more efficient, faster, and I think you were including more of these expressions. Now, nice word from Beth. She said stopover, right? And a similar word to, well, it means the same thing. It means a short stay on a longer journey. So we had a 4-hour layover in Chicago, right? Notice layover is one word, stopover is two words. Yeah, it's a bit, what's the word? What's the word when it's there's arbitrary. Yeah, it's just the way the spelling has developed. But they mean the same thing. Now Beth said she was having a wine, right? Pronounced like wine, vino, right? But the verb is to whine, and it means to complain. Yeah, but when if you're saying you're whining, it's kind of like informal, right? The more neutral expression is complain, right? But it's okay in this context because these are informal stories, aren't they? Now, Monica, notice you said the last year. Now,
The,
do we use the in this time phrase? You do in Spanish, but do you use it in English? The answer is yes or no. Do we use
yes,
the? No. It's
last year only
no article. We just say last year we visited a lake. Yeah, referring to
without
2024.
without the article.
Without the article, yeah. But good job. Nice stories. Thank you for that. Now, I'm going to ask each of our new teachers to give you just a very brief introduction. Perhaps you could, guys, you could say where you're from, which countries, and maybe something interesting about you. So, I don't know. How about Arturo? Would you like to go first? Just a few minutes. Introduce yourselves to the students.
Sure. Thank you, Andrew. Hello, we have Kevin, Beth, Monica, and Sarah. My name is Arturo. As you can see, I'm from Lima, Peru. And well, I've been a teacher since 2009. Right now, I'm working at a school in the mornings, and in the evenings, I teach. I prepare people to take the IELTS. It's like an English test, like the TOEFL, for them to study abroad. Something interesting about me. Let's see. I am a communicator, really. But like I said, I've been working as a teacher for quite some time. I used to have, well, I've had two jobs for a long time, and one of my other jobs was as a communicator, like I said, and I had to travel to many places just to work. I went to Russia, I went to Dubai. And when I was in Dubai, I was trying to find a job as a teacher. And one of the things they asked me is if I could, if I had a CELTA, so, and I didn't. That's why I'm taking this course. I think we're going to be working for the next 4 weeks, which is very exciting. We're getting a new group. I think that, we can exchange different information from culture. I think some of you guys are from Mexico. I don't know if all of you are from Mexico. I couldn't catch that, but I think Peruvians and well, in general Latin Americans, we're very alike. We have very many things in common. So I think we're gonna be okay in terms of cultural differences, right? There's not gonna be much. much difference there. So I'm looking forward to working with you guys and as well with you, Andrew. All right. So I think that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Arturo. Interesting background. Yes, well, I examine for IELTS, yeah, and my son is studying to be a communicologist. Yeah, he's doing communication at
That's in
university.
Mexico?
Yeah.
Cool. There's plenty of work. If you want to be a journalist, then you're gonna be in trouble because journalists, I mean, at least in my country,
It's a dangerous place. Yeah, it's a dangerous place to be a journalist, Mexico. Yes.
yeah. So maybe he can, rely on, like, or choose something different. Like, I don't know. Is he going for journalism?
Well, he says he's not interested in journalism.
Right.
Yeah, but we'll see. Maybe he will.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Interesting. Let's pass on to Hauba.
Well, hi, good evening. Well, I am Helber Villar. I'm from Colombia. Yeah, my name it's a tricky one. Yeah, like super original. I haven't heard of anyone else that has that name. So yeah, I think my name is unique in the whole world. So that's super interesting about me. And yeah, my hairstyle is different. So yeah, that's interesting about me. And what else? Oh, I consider myself like a cinephile, so I love movies. So if you like movies, we are going to like each other. So yeah. And well, I've been a teacher for almost 4 years now, and I work also at a school, like almost the whole day, like from 6 to almost 4 p.m. So yeah, and after that, I also teach English at an academy. So yeah, my life is pretty busy, and I'm studying as well. So yeah, and well, my lessons are like mostly quite dynamic, and yeah, so I think we are going to have fun and learn a lot. Yeah, so it's nice to meet you all. So yeah, thank you very much.
Nice to meet you too, Hauba.
Nice to meet you.
On to Joel, sorry. Let's do it in alphabetical order of names.
Thank you, Andrew. Hello, Sarah, Kevin, Beth. My name is Joel Salgado. I am also a licensed communicologist, just like Arturo. I was specializing specifically on photography for my major. And a little bit of background, I started after college on a parking lot section where I had to be a translator for documents and such. Then I moved to a coffee shop where I was the lead marketing person to look for promotions and ways to advertise new products and whatnot. And finally, I finished by working as a private tutor. I've been a private English tutor for a year now. And that's why I'm here, taking the CELTA program so I can improve on my teaching experience. However, I have always used the English language pretty much every day throughout my life, whether it be for hobbies or for work or for school. I just fell in love with the language ever since I was a kid. And that's why I decided to work on something that used both my career and the language combined. So yeah, if you have anything that you would like to ask me, feel free. And I hope to have some really good teaching experiences with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. So you live in Toluca, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I live in Toluca in the state of Mexico, Mexico.
Mexico,
Um, I'm about, well, there's a new subway, so I'm literally 37 minutes away
Yes, yes.
to Mexico City.
That should help, shouldn't it, to commute?
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
But
Where did you study comunicación? Did you study comunicación?
Yes, I am a licensed, well, the full title is Licenciatura en Comunicación y Medios Digitales. It's from Tecnológico de Monterrey.
Oh,
That's the
that's a good
college
school. Yeah.
that I attended.
Very good.
I graduated in 2020, right at the peak of the pandemic, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So um, I couldn't really work on the area that I wanted to major, but
Well, yeah,
that's life.
language and linguistics is an important part of communication, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. On to Salma. Thank you. Well.
No problem. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good night. Well,
Good
my
evening.
name is Salma. I am from Mexico, and I am an English teacher. Since I started teaching, I've been teaching this subject and sometimes science, but like I am really into the language. I enjoy teaching it. I enjoy listening to students, and whenever they are talking or sharing their experiences, it's something that I really like because I can see how they are learning, and I also like listening to their anecdotes. And well, about me, I enjoy watching Netflix, baking, and spending time with my family. So yeah, I am really excited to meet you. And as someone already said, for the next 4 weeks, we are going to be your teachers. So we are really excited about that.
Thank you, Salma. What did you study? What was your major?
I am a pedagogist.
Ah, you're an educationalist, effectively.
Yes.
Does that mean you specialize in children or do you specialize in adults?
Well, it's general. Like I don't have something specific.
Okay.
It's like
Yeah.
just teaching and learning in general.
All right, cool. That's kind of my background. Yes, I have a education masters. Good.
Yeah.
No, I think that's it for today. So thank you very much, students. We will see you next Wednesday.
Thank
When
you.
Thank you.
we'll have 2 writing classes and 2 speaking classes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Muchas
Nice to
gracias por
meet
venir.
you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to
See
meet
you
you,
next week.
teachers. Have a nice
Like, what was your impression of the students?
They were good. I mean, if you do like a comparison among them and not the other ones were bad, but Beth used some really good words, like I think it was Beth, like whining and others, right? That I was impressed. I know it's a higher level though. I know it's a higher level, but still, I was impressed.
So are you happy about that fact?
I mean, it's not that I'm happy or not happy. It's just what it is, right? I mean,
Yeah.
good. I mean, yeah. It's those students are always helpful, right? In class, like they can help you when something's not very clear.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I guess I am. I guess I am now that I think about it.
Yeah, particularly I was listening into what Beth was saying, and she seems quite advanced. Yeah. Monica's actually quite good, but she was a bit a bit shy today. And she has like a few noticeable inaccuracies, like the use of the definite article in an expression like the last year. Yeah, so she needs to work on both fluency and accuracy, I think. Yeah. All right. So next week, you will either be teaching speaking or writing skills. And for both, they use a similar sort of framework. And this is a suggested framework we would like you to follow. Now, so there's the usual lead-in, often used to prepare the students for the audio or writing that they'll read or listen to. So that's why I had a quick intro about airports and prepare them with a bit of vocabulary like tarmac, so on. So there's the content stage when we're focusing on like how is the speaking or the writing organized, and then the actual useful language contained in it so that the students can hopefully adopt some of that useful language, acquire it, and use it in the productive task. Now, you noticed I covered to some degree meaning, form, and pronunciation. Remember, it's not a grammar class, so you don't need to go into the detailed breakdown of the form, yeah? Just maybe work on some areas that might stop them using these useful expressions accurately. So that's why I got them to focus on the prepositions after according, for example, according to, according with, common mistakes. So just maybe to upgrade their performance a little bit. Bit of pronunciation, focus on the larger aspects of pronunciation, like whole sentences with the stress on the content words or even the intonation. You can even use smaller, give them a small text and get them to notice where the person pauses, right? And put slash marks, and get them to rehearse a little bit with a short extract of text can also be a good way of preparing for them for the main productive task if it's speaking. Now, obviously, if it's writing, you don't need to do that. You might want to be focused on other areas, such as cohesive devices, right? How the text sort of links together using and, however, and other discourse markers. And you'll notice I gave them some feedback on both the content and the language. Now, if you're doing a writing lesson, you don't need to analyze for pronunciation. You can use the productive skills template on English Lesson Planner. However, you've just come from pre-intermediate, right, with Vicky, is that right? Now,
Right.
did Vicky encourage you to use English Lesson Planner, or did she give you the Microsoft Word template? What did she do?
She gave us like the Google slide templates, the Google form usage, and
No, I meant for the actual writing of the lesson plan. What template did she use?
It
Oh,
was a
she gave us a
document.
The
template
Word one.
herself.
Can one of you share? Can you just share to show me what she used with you? Screen share.
Here, I found it. Just downloading it. We use this template.
That's perfectly fine. If you want to use this, continue to use this one. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, because it's got all the right elements. Yeah, personal object. Yeah, it's got anticipated problems and solutions, and resources and materials. Yeah, I'd appreciate it if you put in the links to any interactive tools that you use so we can check them before the lesson. But that's perfectly fine. If you wish, you can also use the English lesson planner, which has the same elements basically. You know, the only advantage I see to using the real advantage to using English lesson planner is that they have it automatically gives you the format for the framework. So this is the one I used for speaking, right? And you can see it's got lead in, exposure, useful language, productive task, feedback and error correction. So it's up to you, but you can still like copy those stages from my version and put them into your Microsoft Word document, no problem. Yeah? Regarding the language analysis, I recommend that you continue to do a language analysis because it will help you to think about the different elements that you need to put into your lesson. So here's an example for speaking lesson. I tend to focus on the examples given there, these discourse markers means check understanding, problems with meaning. And then
So whenever we send,
breakdown.
sorry,
Yeah.
whenever we send the lesson plan, we also have to send a TLA as sheet too.
Well, I think with that version you showed me, it contains a language analysis, doesn't it?
Because we had to like add it to the lesson plan.
Yeah, whichever you prefer. You can add it to the bottom, or you can just have it separately. Whichever is more convenient for
Okay,
you.
so we have to fill both. All right, so we have to fill both the lesson plan and the TLAs.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Notice the breakdown and the pronunciation focuses on the stress, but also some of the possible difficulties. It's not a good idea to try and transcribe everything in IPA, right? Because you're not going to use it anyway. But focusing on the tricky ones, like actually, would be useful, right? Actually, because that's a difficult pronunciation. Don't overdo the IPA because students, they don't get it anyway. Mostly. It's good for analysis for you. It's good for us as teachers to analyze, but the students, very often it's like Greek to them, isn't it? Might as well be Ukrainian or something. No. For the writing, start by analyzing the content. What is the content that goes into the difference? Think about the different stages of the writing. Now, the writing lesson, it was a review, writing a review. All right. So the elements that the students would need to include in their writing would be persuading the audience to watch, because it was about a DVD, criticizing, and a conclusion. And think about some alternatives that students could use. And are the alternatives more formal or informal? Like criticism, gripe, whine, complaint. For summing up, you could use overall, generally, in conclusion. There's some analysis of the noun phrases. As it's upper intermediate, there was some conditional clause. But in the actual lesson, I didn't spend too much time on the form. It was just to getting the students to notice the clauses, the main clause and the conditional clause. If you can watch the video to notice how I did that. Pronunciation, not relevant for writing, so I didn't cover it. All right, so that makes sense so far. Shall we have a look at the teaching practice points? Ready for that? Let's do it then. Get those up. Shall I send them to you again? Oh yeah, TP5 to TP8. So you're both going to get the chance to do a writing lesson and a speaking lesson. Arturo, looks like you're kicking off next week.
Yep.
With Describing feelings. Now, this NCEUI means new cutting edge upper intermediate. So the speaking people are provided with material from the course book. The writing people, a bit more of a challenge because you've got to find a sample, a writing sample, right? It's not actually provided by the course book. So that gives you the opportunity to be a bit more creative. Just for 1 week. Let's get the course book material up for the two speakers. New cutting edge upper intermediate. Where is it? Yes. You'll see that there's a link at the top. And when you download the course book, it looks like this. 24 to 25. All right, first thing to remember, there's too much material. All right. The people who write these materials are planning for longer lessons, so you need to cut back a bit. So Arturo, you could begin by using these photos to maybe elicit emotions.
Okay.
You could use this. It's good to use an audio with a speaking lesson, right? Because they need to be made aware of the different aspects of the speaking, given exposure.
So that's the preparation stage, right?
This is the preparation stage, yeah.
Okay.
So the meaning is going to be related to describing feelings. Describing your feelings, but they're also going to need to compare.
Should I use all the exercises or should I pick a couple of them? Like
No,
what are many
you need to cut back. So
Okay.
instead of 10, reduce it to 4. Right? But you can still do this activity, but just just reduce it to 4 audios. Right? Listen and match. Okay, speaker 1. Right? What is the emotion that the person's talking about? All right, so that's the gist activity. The second activity you probably do is get them to listen again and maybe tick off the ones that they hear. Yeah, and then maybe categorize them somehow, like the way I got them to categorize these expressions today.
You talk about
using
the
this
you were breaking.
Jamboard.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not much I can do about that. Maybe I could switch off the video, my video. Now, how's that? So get them to listen again and maybe tick off or categorize those expressions for describing feelings. I think that's probably enough. Just ticking off exercise, the ones that they hear in the audio. Right. You'll have to teach the ones for comparing because they won't be in the audio, right? Or you could do this one here, and where it says, listen and complete the sentences from the recording. That could also make them focus on the expressions to describe feelings.
So okay.
You know? Like this one here. Right?
In that case, I should also use 4 of them.
Well, they're going to need more than 4 expressions to talk about their emotions, right? So give them a wider range of expressions, but I'm suggesting as a time-saving thing, only play 4 audios instead of the full 10, because that's going to be time-consuming. Yeah, you've only got 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So you can introduce extra expressions during the like the useful language stage. Right?
Okay.
For the form, remember it's not a detailed form breakdown, so save yourself time there. You could just ask, elicit from the students. This expression, I hate or love it when, right? What part of speech follows? Yeah, is it? It's probably going to be an object, right? A person. I hate it or love it when someone says. Yeah. So kind of elicit from the students what would follow in these dots here. And that would be fine for form. Or alternatively, you could just, a bit like what I did today, you can give them a common mistake and they have to correct it. You know, just to improve their accuracy a little bit. For pronunciation, you could work on stress. I really hate it when, right? Notice that the adverb is usually stressed. Mm. They'll probably notice that when they hear the listening, right? I love it when it really annoys me. I find it very embarrassing. So get them to listen and maybe mark themselves the words that are stressed there. I'll make them aware of it, and then give them a little bit of drilling if you can. Now, for the speaking, your speaking task is going to be here, and it's fine. These are, you can more or less just follow this, right? Make brief notes about your answers to the 8 questions. Miss out any questions you do not wish to answer, just in case it's sensitive for them. Give them some preparation time and encourage them to incorporate some of this useful language. Put them into breakout rooms, let them compare and explain their ideas. Before you do so, perhaps you could give them some of this language for comparing, right? These sort of fixed expressions. Me too, so do I. Because this will enable them to participate in the conversation more fluently. And that's what speaking skills lessons are all about. Developing speaking fluency so that they can interact better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Using these expressions. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Try and find some time for some feedback at the end.
All right.
That's it, really. Okay, let's focus on the other speaking person while we're in the materials for...
It's me.
That's Joel, and it's 74, 75.
Yeah.
475.
It's about special events.
Oh, yeah, special events. Okay, so the lead in, you could use these photographs and perhaps elicit some memorable events taking place in the photos. One of them looks like a Coldplay concert. Another one looks like a carnival. Another one looks like a sort of wedding ceremony.
Yeah, ceremony of sorts.
Cutting of the cake.
Champagne.
Yeah, maybe some an opera or a musical there. So it could even, just sometimes a labeling activity might help them there, because then you can sort of pre-teach the vocabulary a little bit just by matching words to pictures. I wouldn't do number one though, because that will be probably a little bit time consuming. Just
Yeah,
give
for
them
leading it will be too broad.
yeah, just prepare them for this exposure stage.
I have a quick question. How do I identify? It says track 7.1, I assume.
Yes, it is. Yes.
How do I identify on the CDs which track that is?
Through trial and error.
Trial and error. Okay. I'll try to listen to the tracks and see which one aligns with it.
That's right.
All right.
Now, so for the gist, you could get them to answer these questions. What was the event? Where and when did it take place? Which other people are mentioned? What was the atmosphere?
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's probably a good idea to make a little table on Google Docs. Right, so you've got the questions on one side and the space for the answers. Just encourage them to listen and make notes. All right.
All right.
I think it's probably okay just to do two memorable events for your model, for your listening. Save yourself time because it's a 45-minute lesson. You don't have all the time in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then you can you have the audio script ready on page 167. You could give them a second listening in which they've got to listen and maybe tick off the expressions that they hear regarding describing the event. Now, I don't think there will be any questions about asking the event. So it'll be all listening and ticking off the ones for describing the event, right? That's the language they're going to need.
Yes.
To talk about their memorable event. All right. Now, the speaking task itself is an interview. So they're going to interview each other.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So give them some time to choose one of the, maybe from this list on page 74.
Have them recall an event that they went to and
Yeah.
have them in pairs talk about it like you did.
Okay, but first of all, get them to choose an event, right? And pin them down. Okay, so some students are a bit unwilling to commit themselves. So Kevin, choose an event. Which one are you going to talk about, right?
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Make sure they've chosen one. All right. Then Give them a couple of minutes, 1 to 2 minutes maximum. Yeah, a few minutes is too much. 1 to 2 minutes. Ensure that they only make note down keywords, not full sentences. Get them to choose from this list of useful language A. Okay, then, having done that, they put them in breakout rooms and get them to interview each other. Just before you do that, you could give them some questions. So it's okay to kind of break up the useful language stage so that you're just before they actually go to the speaking, then you maybe elicit or give them some questions. Remember, even at upper intermediate level, they're going to have problems with question formation. So you could actually jumble these words up and say, okay, put them in the right order, right?
Okay.
How feel did you when? Right, put them in the right order. And then they go into the breakout rooms and they interview each other. And it's good to have a report back to the class, number 3. That's like the feedback on the content, on what they've talked about. And you can give them some feedback on language because you'll be listening into their interviews. Right? And you can give them feedback on how well they describe the event. Yeah. You could give them a word bank as well if you wished. It's not necessary, but yeah, some adjectives that they could find useful. Okay. The important thing is to remember is that the language is a tool. You can't force them to use a particular structure of vocabulary. So we just offer this as a tool and we hope they'll use it and incorporate it into their language.
All right.
Yeah. We want to what's called upgrade their performance with the use of these sentence starters. Now, on to the writing people. Who's going first on the writing? Goiba. You're writing an email of complaint.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in the lead in, could I put a picture of someone complaining and I would ask students like, how does this person feel? What will happen next? Or and after that, I would ask them like, have you ever complained, I don't know, to the internet company or the electricity company?
Exactly, yes. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Don't spend too much time on that though.
Okay.
Because you're going to need, maybe you could use the lead in as a way of introducing the model of writing that you're going to give them, right?
Okay.
Now, in this British Council Learn English website, you'll see that there's a model of a writing, right? Is using this product. It's called the product approach or genre approach, right? So an important thing is to first, well, find yourself a model text that exemplifies the type of text that you want them to write. Now, probably the model is going to be a bit longer than what you actually want them to write, but that's okay. Yeah, just as long as it's not extremely long. Yeah, so you could have a look at that.
50 words.
Yeah, the actual product, the outcome is going to be 50 words, more or less. Right? Now, an essential part of this is going to get them to notice the different stages of the writing. Now, for a complaint, probably you're going to need, as a minimum, these three. The reason for writing, what went wrong, call for action or redress, and then a signing off. Right? So those are the four elements that students are going to need. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. You're also going to need, as part of the language preparation, like the useful language, some of this polite or almost like formulaic language, right? Or conventional language. Yeah. So is it formal? You need to ask them questions like, is it formal or informal? If it's formal, how can you tell that it's formal? Right? Well, you'll notice, first of all, there's no contractions. They're using more grammatical type language. Yeah. Full sentences. Yeah. No ellipsis. Modal
Linking
verbs.
words.
Yes, modal verbs to make polite requests, so on. Yeah, linking words are also important, yes. Yeah. So have a look at that English, Learn English website. They might have some ideas for you. Regarding the tool that you ought to use for writing, I'd strongly recommend getting them to write on a if you notice in the writing lessons plan I gave you, it's got some links to some tools, yeah, that you might want to use. So you could use Google Slides. Let me give you the link to this. But have a look on the sample lesson plan I sent in the email. And so I start with the lead in. This was about reviews. And this is what I got them to write on. I gave each student a slide with their name on it. At the top is the instructions or rubric. I've shown them that there's really 4 paragraphs they need to use for this review. I've included a checklist. So at the end of the lesson, the idea is that having written their review, they compare it with a partner, right? So their partner reads their review because everyone's got this link to this Google slide, right? So they read their partner's review and they put, okay, does it contain these items? Does it contain information about the movie? Is it fair? Is there a balance of positive and negative? Is there a clear recommendation? Right? So this is an incentive to the students to actually read their partner's writing. So there is an audience. You're giving the students a reason for writing so that another person can read it. That's pretty important. Right? And you're also encouraging them to proofread their own writing. So check for errors. Right? No, you as the teacher will probably do the correction on any grammar areas, right? And you can save that right to the end. That makes sense?
I mean, more questions will arise when I'm actually doing it. So yeah.
Yeah, send me one or two questions during the week. Yeah.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, I prefer you not to send me material, but the best thing is to ask me a specific question that I can answer quickly.
Gotcha.
Because you probably want a quick answer. Now, final person is the other writing person
Me.
is not Samuel at all, is it? It's
Salma.
Salma. I don't know why I put Samuel. Salma. Sorry about that, Salma. You are now
No
Samuel.
problem.
All right. No, it's describing an event. Writing a description of an event. Okay, now
I was thinking about starting with like well, I don't know if I can get students like get in breakout rooms for them to talk about the best day of their lives, and like that be the topic for the class, and then show them like a text of someone sharing an experience of the best day of their lives, and like using or analyzing the like parts of a story, like the beginning, middle, and end. Words like then, finally, suddenly,
well,
and
that
things
that
like
could be
that.
it, yeah. But I think you're going to need a text. All right.
Uh-huh.
So I'm sending you two writings about an event. Can you see them? One is called The Big Lesson.
Yes, I can.
Can you see it? If you could download those,
Yes.
yeah, you could use either one of those, I reckon. Right. So maybe your lead in could be related to the topic of either one of those, right?
Okay.
Either this the big lesson,
Mhm.
the largest simultaneous lesson ever, or a fantastic musical festival, yeah? Whichever you prefer.
Okay.
Or you could go for something else, but I would strongly recommend that you do have a model text like this, right? And then your lead in is related to this. So it sort of activates their background knowledge. Yeah, so what we call schemata, yeah?
Okay.
Now, then you need to think about the structure of the writing, right? The organization. Because I think there's going to be two things you'll need to work on. One is going to be the well, the first is the organization. So elements that you would need to include would be an introduction or background, right? Explaining the cause, why the event happened, and describing the result or effect. If you notice that in the Fantastic Music Festival, there's like something happened for it to be cancelled.
Mm.
Yeah. And they use like this expression due to, right? In the big lesson, it's to do with like how it was organized. The event was organized it was part of a campaign. Yeah. So there's definitely cause and effect there, isn't there, in both? It kind of runs through
Okay.
them. So having worked on the organization, then you can look at these, what we call cohesive devices. And the ones highlighted in the one about the Fantastic Music Festival are as a result, however, due to, instead, even though, but, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those are ways of signaling to the reader that there's some sort of cause or effect, isn't there? Yeah? Due to, debido a, right? Since and as. In the big lesson, you've got in addition. You've got time expressions on the April the 19th. You've got reference words like the event, referring to what was mentioned earlier. Yeah. So coherence, cohesion is important. Think of that as the skills that you want to develop, the writing skills. Organization, cohesion. Cohesion is all about how you stick the text together like glue, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can you make the students aware of the different stages in the text? Well, if you look in the lesson plan I sent you on writing, there's a sort of layout. Work on the gist first, always, so that they understand. But then there's a layout activity. So here's the one about the review. So this is actually getting them to focus on the organization. So students here have to identify what are the different. You'll notice there are 4 paragraphs, but what points go in each paragraph? So probably catching the reader's attention is going to be paragraph 1. Conclusion or recommendation, obviously paragraph 4. Yeah, but where do the positive points go? If you read carefully, you'll see it's paragraph 2. I think it's also paragraph 2 for description of content. Negative points, paragraph 3. Yeah? So this is making students aware of the importance of the organization so that they can write a coherent piece of review that then additional features, where would that go? Probably 3. Right? So they check the answers to that. Also ask, where would you see a review like this? What do you think? Where would you see that such a review? Is it in a magazine? Is it on the internet? Posted by. What does that tell you? Is it a magazine or is it on the internet, Salma?
No, it's like a blog.
Yeah, so internet, right? Or a blog, exactly. Is it formal, semi-formal, informal? Working on style and register is pretty important with writing. It's neither very formal nor is it very informal. Yeah, if it was very formal, very informal, you probably wouldn't use paragraphs. But it's slightly informal. Look at the use of emotive language and exclamation marks, right? That's not usual in a more formal writing. So probably informal. Semi-formal is the answer. And then you can work on some of the a bit more on the language, lexis, even a bit of grammar to show that there's like conditional here, because I mean it's upper intermediate. They're going to be writing more sophisticated sentences. Yeah. And you can clarify that as well after they've answered those questions, making them aware of clauses and so on. But remember, it's not a grammar lesson, so we don't want to see you like going into great detail with the form breakdown. Huh? Just a reminder for them to use that sort of language. Okay, any questions?
So if we have any doubts while making the planning, we can only send you the questions, but not like the planning for you to give us feedback.
No, I don't want to see whole lesson plans. No, I'd much rather see questions. Right.
Okay, got it.
So, for example, tutor, I'm having problems with figuring out how to do the what's it called? The organization. How to make them aware of organization. Do you have any ideas for the sort of tools you could use? And then I might answer back and say, well, you know, maybe a whiteboard tool would be useful. Then you could have the text on your slide and get the students to move stickies to the different parts of the text to label it, label the different stages. Hmm? So yeah, specific questions. I don't mind you like giving me the link to an activity and saying how, you know, how could this be improved? But not full lesson plans, because the lesson plan that's evaluated by me as a whole. Yeah. Any further doubts? Before we finish tonight, I wanted to ask you about how you're getting on with focus on the learner. Now, Vicky, undoubtedly, because she's very conscientious, would have given you an explanation about focus on the learner, right?
Yeah, we quickly went through the focus on the learner.
Good.
And she offered her aid if we wanted to interview one of the pre-intermediate students.
That's perfectly fine. Yeah, I mean, you can choose one from either group.
Yeah.
Pre-intermediate or upper intermediate. So let's just ask each participant here, have you an idea of who you'd like to use as your guinea pig?
Vicky also mentioned that we can use someone that is not part of the course. So I was planning to use one of my students, my real students.
That's fine.
Cool too.
Well, tell me, Salma, tell me about your student.
Yeah, he's an adult. He's a male.
Yeah. Is it
He's
private
like
student or?
yeah, private student.
Do you see him regularly?
He's like yeah, each week.
Okay. What level is he?
Like an A2.
Okay, it's all right. Yeah. So it's like pre-intermediate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, have you interviewed him yet?
Not yet. I am focusing more on like some other exercises first, but I know a little bit about his context, like why is he studying, where is he from, things like that,
Yeah.
but
Okay,
not
good.
the interview.
Yeah. So you'd probably be able to say a little bit already about his motivations for learning English. When you're talking about this, when you're writing about it, try and use the terminology for motivation. Thinking about intrinsic and extrinsic, right? Probably it's a combination of both. But just check you know what that terminology means. Yeah. Sorry, intrinsic. Intrinsic. There we go. Intrinsic motivation. Check you're using that terminology. It's the right terminology. Also, regarding learning styles, think about things like visual, audio, auditory, kinesthetic, right? There are other ones as well, aren't there? Like social. You can talk about their personalities. It can be useful to actually interview them, record the interview, and transcribe some of what they've said and put it into the appendix. Likewise, you could send them a little writing task. I don't know, like a review, write a review of a book or film that you liked. Give them some content points they need to include. Send it by email. And you could include that sample of writing, put it in the appendix. It doesn't count towards the words for the essay, but it'll make it easier when you're writing part B because you might be able to mention some examples of problems that they have in part when you're writing part B. Also, if you've got some writing from them, then you can talk about their strengths and weaknesses with writing sub-skills. Did they organize the review well? Are they missing lots of cohesive devices in their writing? Are they bad at spelling? Are they bad at punctuation? Those are all writing sub-skills, right? But in part two, then you do need to focus on systems. So think about grammar, lexis, vocabulary, lexis, and pronunciation. That makes sense? What about books to consult for this part? Have you thought about that? I'd strongly recommend going to additional resources, CELTA library, go to NISC, and there's a really useful book called Learning English. Now, are any of you thinking of using a guinea pig who is not Spanish speaker? They're all Spanish speakers, right? Your subjects. Yeah. If they're not, maybe if you decide to change and go for a Portuguese one, then you can look at the problems for Portuguese speakers. All right. But for most of you guys, then page 90 is going to be useful. Now, because I assume that most of you, your first language is Spanish, it's going to be, yeah, fairly easy. But the terminology is really useful in this as well to describe the possible problems that the students might have. Right. So have a read, skim through this article, page 90, before you get started analyzing their problems. Right. And cite this book in your assignment. It's kind of a really useful book, I think. Particularly in part B. 90 speakers. Just about every important language in the world is covered in this. Italian. So you've got phonology, typical difficulties for Spanish speakers, vowels, consonants, consonant clusters, rhythm and stress, intonation, spelling, contractions, grammar general and specific questions, tense and aspect, infinitives, articles, typically problematic even at upper intermediate, possessives, relative pronouns, clauses, clause structure, prepositions, vocab. That's quite a good one there. Actual and current, cover that today. All right. Other resources as well, but I'll point out some more of those to you next week. Don't want to keep you too long tonight because we're going to be having longer sessions. So, unless you have any further questions, we can call it a night and go and have our merienda.
Absolutely.
You can go and have your quecas.
Are you super fluent in Spanish or no?
Well, I know a lot of street Spanish, you know. But my son is always regañándome. Hablas mal.
happens.
Yeah. All right, guys. Good to meet you, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you, Andrew. Nice to meet you
Thank
too.
you.
Same.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Forward to
Thank you.
receiving your lesson plans. Hopefully 2 hours before the lesson would be great, but I know sometimes it can be difficult. The earlier you can get it to me, the more I would appreciate it, though, because I like to read your lesson plans before the lesson.
Yeah, with Vicky, she kind of suggested us to send it before Monday, usually.
That would be fantastic, but
At the very least, the first draft by Monday.
yeah, well, this is the second half. We kind of anticipate that you would be a bit more independent with your lesson planning. So my recommendation is just try and the first one, just try and follow the framework, right? Just include as much detail as you can, and send it like 2 hours before minimum would be great. Okay.
Send it
I'd
to
like,
you or upload it on the
no,
DP
it's
portion of.
please upload it. When
Okay.
you're ready, just upload it to the platform. Yeah. You'll get extensive feedback on your lesson plans, right?
Sure.
Any further questions? All right. Buenas noches, entonces.
Have a good night.
Goodbye.
Buenas noches.
Thank
I'll
you.
send you the recording as well
Bye.
from
Thank
tonight.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.